Forget the laugh tracks and the saccharine sweetness that defines so much of 1960s television. While shows across the dial were serving up sanitized suburban ideals and predictable domestic squabbles, a truly bizarre, utterly captivating phenomenon was brewing in a Gothic mansion on Mockingbird Lane. The Addams Family, which first graced television screens in 1964, wasn't just a sitcom. It was a delicious, deadpan, and profoundly loving satire wrapped in cobwebs and served with a side of arsenic. The sheer audacity of its premise, a wealthy, aristocratic family who found joy in the macabre and utterly baffled the normal world, was its initial hook. But the reason it remains beloved isn't just the cookiness. It's the heart, the wit, and a level of character performance that was, frankly, sensational. This wasn't just funny, it was intelligent, strangely aspirational, and unlike anything else on television, before or since. It captured a unique corner of the American psyche, a quiet rebellion against conformity, and dressed it up in mourning clothes. From the moment that iconic, finger-snapping theme song filled living rooms, audiences were put on notice. This was different. The humor of the Addams Family didn't rely on slapstick, though there was some, or misunderstandings based on malice, there was none. Instead, its comedic brilliance stemmed almost entirely from the family's absolute, unwavering sincerity about their own peculiar tastes. They weren't trying to be weird, they simply were themselves, and they adored it. Their joy in suffering, their delight in the morbid, their genuine affection for instruments of torture. It was all played with such earnest conviction by the cast that the comedy arose not from them doing strange things, but from the reactions of the bewildered, conventional outsiders who stumbled into their world. A visit from a scout troop, an insurance salesman, a truant officer. These were the catalysts that highlighted the glorious, hilarious chasm between the Addams reality and everyone else's. The humor was observational, character-driven, and required the audience to lean in and appreciate the inverted logic of this strange household. It was sophisticated in its simplicity, relying on sharp writing and impeccable timing to land its delightfully dark jokes. Furthermore, the show excelled in its visual humor and running gags that were seamlessly integrated into the fabric of the Addams' daily life. Consider Lurch, the towering, monosyllabic butler whose groans and shuffling gait were a constant source of amusement, often juxtaposed with his surprising tenderness or hidden talents. Or Thing, the disembodied hand, a character brought to life through sheer ingenuity, and Ted Cassidy's Lurch's actor hidden presence or other clever camera tricks. Thing wasn't just a prop, he was a loyal family member, playing chess, handing out cigars, and even knitting. This kind of imaginative, quirky detail permeated every episode, rewarding attentive viewers and building a rich, internal world for the family. The visual language of the show, from the dusty, overgrown greenhouse where Morticia tended to her carnivorous plants to Gomez's explosive model trains, was meticulously crafted to reinforce their unique lifestyle and serve as a constant, nonverbal source of amusement. It's this commitment to their eccentric reality, portrayed without a wink or a nudge to the audience acknowledging how weird it all was, that made it truly special. It dared you to accept them on their own terms, or at least laugh trying to understand them. Perhaps the true heart of the show, however, lay in its characterizations and the extraordinary performances that breathed life into Charles Addams' original single-panel cartoons. Gomez Addams, as portrayed by the incandescently energetic John Astin, was a revelation. Forget the brooding, silent patriarch stereotype. Astin's Gomez was a man of boundless enthusiasm, a passionate lover of his wife, a devoted father, a connoisseur of the bizarre, and a financier whose investments seemed based on pure chaos and often surprisingly successful chaos at that. His physical comedy was superb, his verbal sparring with Morticia electric, and his unadulterated joy in every moment, whether fencing or puffing on a cigar that emitted smoke from his ears, was utterly infectious. He wasn't just a character, he was a force of nature, the eccentric engine that drove the family's peculiar world. Watching Astin's Gomez was, and still is, a masterclass in committing fully to a comedic role, bringing a vibrant, almost cartoonish energy into a live-action format. Complementing Gomez was the exquisite Morticia Addams, brought to life with Elegant Macabre by Carolyn Jones. Jones imbued Morticia with a slinky grace, a deep, velvety voice, and a profound, almost unnerving calmness in the face of domestic chaos. She was the perfect foil to Gomez's exuberance, the serene center of their swirling world. Her passion for the Gothic, her dedication to her bizarre garden, and her unwavering devotion to her husband and children were portrayed with a quiet intensity that made her utterly captivating. The chemistry between Astin and Jones was palpable and remains one of the strongest, most genuinely affectionate depictions of a married couple in sitcom history. Their relationship, filled with pet names whispered in French cara mia, mon cher, passionate tango dances, and shared morbid interests, was not only hilarious, but also genuinely romantic and aspirational in its deep mutual adoration and acceptance. And then there were the children. Wednesday Addams, played with chilling deadpan perfection by Lisa Loring, was a small girl with a fascination for spiders, guillotines, and generally unsettling pronouncements. Her quiet intensity and lack of typical childlike effervescence made her character strangely compelling and hilariously juxtaposed against the more outwardly expressive family members. Pugsley Addams, played by Ken Weatherwax, was her slightly more boisterous brother, often the test subject for Wednesday's games or his own elaborate, often destructive, schemes. Their sibling dynamic wasn't about petty squabbles, but shared experiments in mischief and mayhem, united in their shared Addams sensibilities. These child actors, especially Loring with her stone-faced delivery, were remarkably effective in embodying the show's unique tone. Beyond the immediate family, the supporting cast was equally brilliant. Jackie Coogan, already famous for his silent film work with Charlie Chaplin, was unrecognizable and sublime as Uncle Fester, the bald, hunched, gleefully eccentric uncle with the ability to light up a light bulb in his mouth. Coogan brought a childlike glee and genuine warmth to Fester's strange habits and often volatile experiments. Marie Blake was wonderful as Grandmama Addams, the resident witch and potion maker, whose spells rarely went as planned, but whose heart was always in the right, albeit slightly sinister place. And of course, Ted Cassidy's Lurch was an icon, communicating volumes with a slow groan and a deadpan stare. His physical presence was commanding, but Cassidy also infused Lurch with unexpected moments of pathos or surprising talents, making him far more than just a stoic servant. The brilliance of the Addams Family wasn't just in the individual performances, but in how these actors came together to create a cohesive, believable within its own rules family unit. Their interactions felt genuine, their affection for one another was clear, and this strong foundation of love and acceptance is what made their bizarre activities so endearing rather than truly frightening. They weren't evil, they were just different. They reveled in their differences and genuinely couldn't understand why the rest of the world found them so strange. This created a fascinating dynamic where the normal visitors often appeared more foolish, uptight, or even slightly malevolent in their inability to tolerate or understand the Addams' unique way of life. It was a clever, subtle commentary on conformity and the fear of the other, packaged within a family sitcom. Thinking about how this family, so utterly confident in their own skin even if that skin was a little pale and fond of black, navigated a world that didn't understand them. It makes you appreciate shows that aren't afraid to challenge the norm. If you find yourself drawn to stories about embracing your true self, no matter how unconventional, you might find a lot to love in classic TV that pushed boundaries. Perhaps it's time to hit that subscribe button and join a community that celebrates the weird, the wonderful, and the shows that dared to be different. We dive deep into the unique aspects of these timeless classics. The show's relatively short original run, just 2 seasons, is almost baffling given its lasting cultural impact and the sheer quality of the production and performances. It wasn't a massive ratings juggernaut in its initial airing compared to some of its contemporaries, perhaps because its humor was a little too sophisticated, a little too different from mainstream 1960s audiences used to simpler comedic fare. Yet, it found its true life and built its legendary status in syndication. Reruns allowed new generations to discover the joys of the Addams household, appreciating the timelessness of its themes and the brilliance of its execution, proving that truly original content, even if it takes time, can find its audience and become immortal. The show's influence can be seen in countless subsequent depictions of Gothic or unconventional families, but none have quite captured the specific blend of genuine warmth and macabre humor that the original series perfected. It wasn't just the acting, the writing itself, helmed by talented writers who understood the delicate balance between horror and humor that Charles Addams created, was consistently sharp. The dialogue was often witty, filled with clever wordplay and perfectly delivered punchlines. The plots, while sometimes simple sitcom fare about visitors or everyday problems, were always filtered through the unique Addams lens, transforming mundane situations into hilarious exercises in cultural misunderstanding. Whether it was the family trying to help Gomez's cousin come out of his shell literally, he lived in a shell, or dealing with a crooked insurance investigator, the show mined comedy gold from the clash of worlds. The writing never condescended to the characters or the audience. It trusted that viewers would get the joke, that they would appreciate the absurdity and the underlying affection. Consider the relationship between Gomez and Morticia, often cited as one of the healthiest and most passionate marriages in sitcom history. They were madly in love, openly affectionate, supportive of each other's eccentricities, and treated their children with genuine kindness and encouragement, even when those encouragements involved dangerous games. This depiction of a functional, loving, albeit bizarre, family unit was, in its own way, revolutionary. At a time when many sitcoms featured couples sleeping in separate beds and husbands and wives often bickering, the Addams' passionate embrace of each other and their family values, twisted though they were by conventional standards, was surprisingly wholesome and aspirational. They taught us that love and happiness come in many forms, and that embracing your partner's quirks is key to a strong relationship. It's a powerful message, subtly delivered through their shared joy in electrocuting each other or discussing their favorite dungeons. The production design also played a crucial role in establishing the show's mood and humor. The Addams mansion was a character in itself, dark, spooky, filled with oddities, but also clearly a beloved home. The taxidermy, the suits of armor, the various torture devices that doubled as furniture, it all contributed to the visual comedy and reinforced the family's world. It wasn't just a set, it felt like a place lived in, a reflection of the family's unique tastes and history. The attention to detail in creating this environment helped ground the show's more outlandish elements in a tangible, if Gothic, reality. This meticulous world building, combined with the stellar performances, elevated the Addams Family beyond simple farce into something truly memorable and impactful. Looking back, it's clear that the Addams Family was more than just a funny show with a catchy theme song. It was a quiet revolutionary, celebrating non-conformity, showcasing a loving family that defied societal norms, and proving that humor can be found in the darkest corners of life. It dared to be different, and in doing so, it carved out a permanent, beloved place in television history. The show's legacy is a testament to the power of strong characters, smart writing, and a unique vision that wasn't afraid to be utterly, delightfully weird. It encouraged generations of viewers to find the humor in the strange, and to maybe, just maybe, be a little more accepting of those who don't fit the mold. It taught us that normal is just a setting on a washing machine, and that true happiness comes from embracing who you are, cobwebs and all. If you enjoyed this deep dive into what made the Addams Family truly special, remember there's a whole world of classic television waiting to be explored and appreciated for its unique merits. Don't miss out on future analyses and celebrations of these timeless shows. Make sure you're subscribed so you can join the conversation as we uncover the magic behind television's golden age. Now, I'd love to hear from you. What or your favorite memories of watching the Addams Family? Was there a specific character or moment that always made you laugh? What do you think is the most enduring aspect of the show's charm? Leave your thoughts and opinions in the comments below. Let's discuss why this wonderfully strange family still holds such a special place in our hearts.